Good afternoon. I'd like to begin by saying that I believe Norman Augustine is truly a national treasure. He's been recognized that way by presidents and professional organizations, but having been a person who had the pleasure of serving on Rising Above the Gathering Storm, under his leadership, his knowledge base, his dedication to the citizens of this country and to our own country and its competitiveness is just remarkable, and I want to applaud you again. I'd like to thank Britt Kerwin especially for your organization of this STEM conference today. It is truly in the spirit of Governor O'Malley's belief in the importance of pre-K to 20, at least 20, working together to create a seamless learning community. And in fact, through all the information we're gathering today, we are becoming that seamless learning community. In our pre-K to 12 arena, the work that we do will not only spawn the opportunity for much greater progress in this STEM arena, but will in fact nurture the cognitive development of 1 million children within the state of Maryland. That is a powerful statistic when we think about competitiveness, when we think about economic development and a workforce. And so that is what we're talking about as we talk about this pre-K to 12 community. Recently, through Britt's initiation, Jim Lyons, who's been introduced as the Secretary of Higher Education, and I will be co-chairing an effort to look at college success. College success will include the opportunities for our students to matriculate to higher education, certainly in this field of STEM, but beyond that, to reduce the necessity for remediation, which often discourages students because they feel that these are areas, the STEM areas, which are so daunting for them in feeling that they don't have the necessary preparation. Yuri, who did a magnificent job, and I just want to compliment you and say how much I learned from you today, said that we should celebrate. We celebrate not to say that we've achieved everything we need to achieve. In fact, we're just beginning. But we celebrate because we build on success. We are all human beings, our teachers, our administrators, our students, and all of us. And so for a moment, we ought to build on success. Yes, Maryland has been ranked #1 in terms of public school systems throughout the state of Maryland. Maryland has also been rated #1 in the number of students and those achieving the 3, 4, or 5 on the National Advanced Placement Assessments. Why is that important? It's important because, as Yuri said, it was something considered for the elite, something considered for only that special group of students. And whether or not we think this is the end-all and be-all, it is important to represent a higher standard that we have for all of our students, not some of our students. And in fact, the thing we're most proud of after 55 years with New York State ranking #1, we finally knocked them out, and it was the subject of the New York Times and the New York Post. But the thing we're most proud of is the acceleration of performance of what has traditionally been our underrepresented students. This state, in our public schools this year, we have 200 languages spoken. That what has traditionally been our underrepresented population is now our majority population. And so we must have a deep concern for the achievement of all of our students and not some of our students. And so we celebrate that, and we celebrate something else. And it was said in one of our breakout groups very eloquently, and that is, what is our investment in early childhood education? Where children come to school with this insatiable curiosity and desire for learning. And in Maryland, we're fortunate to be the only state that has transferred all of the early childhood programs to education with the deep belief that that needs to be the centerpiece upon which we build. And so, as we look at these young children prior to coming to formal education and really hone our work with these young children in the areas of exploration, of curiosity, of learning, in science in a way that represents 21st century skills of investigation, integration of knowledge, application of knowledge, problem solving. That's where it begins. And these are critical periods, as any psychologist would tell you, and in so many ways, if you bypass these critical periods of learning, you never recapture them. I want to tell you an important story, and that is if you want to talk about STEM, ask the students. And so I did that. I asked many students who were in high school. And through the governor and through the General Assembly, we've given grants out to all of our school systems to serve as incentives for creating STEM programs. These are students who were matriculating through those programs and saying to them, when did you begin to develop this deep interest in STEM? Because these students had made a decision. They were going to pursue STEM careers. They said it never occurred in high school. It never occurred in middle school. It occurred in elementary school. And how did it occur? It occurred because of a creative teacher who knew how to present information in a way in which they could deal with that information by way of application. It piqued their excitement about learning, and they wanted to build on that through their school career, and they did. And so I want to talk about pre-K education because it is so critical.